everybody, and welcome to the All About Health podcast. My name is Georgia Overbeck, and I'm your host. Thank you so much for clicking on this episode today, whether you are watching on YouTube or you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. I appreciate you more than you know, and I really hope that you get some quality from this episode or just from my podcast in general. I hope that either you learn something or it makes you smile or you just enjoy it. And so if you do, I would absolutely love if you let me know by messaging me on Instagram or leaving a review. I would so appreciate that. But now that we've gotten that out of the way, and I just want to make sure that you know how grateful I am for everyone who listens or watches, let's get into today's episode. Today we're going to be talking about my vision board for my 20th year. So I recently turned 20, I've talked about it a lot, and I recently made a new vision board for kind of like the goals and the vibe and everything that I want to be this year as a 20-year-old. And so I thought it'd be fun to kind of go over my vision board and what that looks like, what's on it, what I'm hoping to manifest and work on this year. And I'm going to post what my vision board looks like on my Instagram. So if you want to check that out, the Instagram is just All About Health Pod. I'll also share it on YouTube as well, so you can check it out there. But let's get into today's episode, starting off with our segment of the week. So on our Monday episodes, the segment is recommendation of the week, and this week I am recommending the book Atomic Habits. So I've actually read this, I think it was at the beginning of 2022 maybe, and I decided to reread it for my reading challenge for this year. And so far, I think I'm like 3 or 4 chapters in, and I just think if you are somebody who wants to get into self-help books, then this is a great place to start because the author, James Clear, really explains everything very well in simple terms, in things that you're going to understand. And he doesn't there's sometimes when I'm reading self-help books where I kind of get bored because either they're just repeating the same thing or you're using these big words that I don't understand, or it's just not something that I can comprehend at the level, I guess, that I am for self-help books. I know that everybody's different, and some people prefer those books that are more like psychology or business-based. For me, I think I prefer books, like self-help books, that are more things you can actually implement. They're a little bit more easy to understand. And so that's a big reason why I'm recommending this Atomic Habits book. A lot of people will ask me what books I recommend because I've read so many. And this is one that I would definitely recommend if you are a beginner to self-help books, or if you're just looking for another book to read. I know that everybody talks about this book. It's been pretty big over the last couple of years, I would say, and it is that way for a reason. So if you have not read Atomic Habits, or maybe you have, then this is your sign to either read it for the first time or reread it again. And of course, once I finish the book, I will be posting my review on my Instagram, so stay tuned for that. And again, you can get this on Amazon. I even saw if you have like an Amazon Kindle, you can get it for free, which I think is really awesome. You can find it online, obviously, if you want it in an ebook form, or I got it in a paper copy just because that's how I prefer reading my books. But that is my recommendation of the week, is the book Atomic Habits. Okay, so now let's get into my vision board for my 20th year. I'm going to put it up on the screen now if you're watching on YouTube so you can see it. And I'm going to go through all the different types of things I have here and also explain them so that if you're not watching, then you can still understand what I'm talking about. So first of all, one thing that I really want to start for my 20th year is to actually take my social media more seriously. Not that I haven't taken it seriously in the past, but actually see my worth for my social media and my content creation and make sure that I'm getting what I need to in return. A lot of time when you're starting out on social media, brands will want to just gift you things, which is amazing. Like, I remember when I first started getting PR packages, and I would be getting things for free and then making a post about them or something like that. And I remember at the beginning, and even now, it's still so surreal to me that brands want to send me things in exchange for content. And as amazing as that is, I want to start knowing my worth and realizing that I need to be getting paid for these things as well. And if you are somebody who like doesn't do content creation or don't really know about that world, then you may be thinking like, why would a brand need to pay you? Like they're already sending you things. And the reason for that is because as content creators, we put a lot of effort and time into the content that we post. Talk to my mom, talk to my dad, talk to other content creators, and you will know a lot of the time, like for example, a YouTube video, it can take me 3 hours to edit, even just a like short reel or Instagram video, depending on what it's about. It can take hours to edit, to do the voiceover, to add the text on screen, to do all of that stuff. And so that's the thing too, is that being an influencer or being a content creator, like it is a huge business. I don't know the exact like revenue that has come out about content creators or influencers over the past couple of years, or like UGC or anything like that, but I know that there are millions of dollars in this business. And so influencers and content creators are getting paid. And so for me, for my 20th year, I think it's just time that I realize my worth and actually like ask for compensation, you know? So that is definitely something that I am working on this year. And so that is one thing that I have on my vision board is, you can see on my vision board, if you're watching, I have a picture of like PR packages. And so that's something that I'm manifesting, that I'm going to be continuing to get my PR packages, but getting them from brands that see my worth and that are compensating me as well. And I actually have two pictures. I have another one, which is like, by the way, I get all my pictures from Pinterest. I just went to Pinterest and typed in like what I'm looking for, and then I just put them all together on Canva. But the picture that I'm talking about here, it's like this girl, she has her bed covered in a PR package, and then she's got a little tripod and her laptop, and it's like she's making the content for that brand. And so that is why I have that on there, and that is something that I am going to be working on and starting to do in my 20th year. The next thing that I am working on as a 20-year-old is my relationship with food. And so I don't think that I've really talked about this a lot, but in the past I've struggled with overeating and sometimes undereating. And so that's been going on for years now. I've never really talked about it. And if you are somebody who is sensitive to this topic, then maybe skip through a little bit and go to a different thing that I'm working on. But this is definitely something that I'm working on, is just having a more balanced, healthy relationship with food. It can be easy for me to overestimate portions. I've always had a big appetite, and because I work out so much, I think that that could be a reason for sure. I'm also only 20, so at that age, you're gonna have a bigger appetite. So this is something that I'm working on, is just like listening to my body, and when it's hungry, feeding it, and then when I'm not hungry, stopping eating. I can eat. It's easy for me to like ignore my hunger signals. So for example, like if I'm eating something and I'm like, oh, I'm full, I'll keep eating, because I don't know why, but I've always thought like you have to empty your bowl, you have to finish your plate. And I know that I'm not the only one who thinks that, but so that's something that I'm working on. Like if I am full, I'm not going to keep eating, which now that I'm saying it makes so much sense, but actually in that moment, it can be a lot harder than it is. And so I made on my vision board, I did a picture of like meal prep, because I was thinking that like that kind of symbolizes my healthy relationship with food, like having certain portions already out. And then of course, if I'm still hungry, then I'll go back and eat more, but having like a good portion size. And then I also have like Sunday meal prep picture on there, which I just really like that one. And then also grocery shopping. And so those are all kind of related to this healthy relationship with food. Just having a little bit more balance with how much I'm eating. That is something that I am definitely working on this year. Next up, I want to work on making sure that my content, because I'm going to be asking for that compensation, I want to make sure that my content is high quality, whether it's the sound, whether it's the visuals. And so that's a big reason. I talked about this in my favorites episode and also the first episode of season 2, how I recently invested in a camera and different microphones and all this stuff. And so that is a big part of my hoping to increase the quality of my content, but also just making sure that like the videos I'm putting out and things are helpful, they're great video ideas, and that you're gonna get something from them. It's not like just me posting a picture of my meal and then like leaving it there. Like, I want to make sure that you are getting something from this content. And so on my vision board, I have that as like the little Canon camera on the bottom, although I have a Sony camera, so but it's fine. So I have that, and then other things, like I just want to keep making sure that my content is high quality. I don't really have anything else on my vision board for that, but that is definitely something that I am working on and continuing to do. Okay, next is my coastal grandmother aesthetic. I've talked about this so much, and I hope that you are not bored of it, because I am not bored of it. I love it so much. And so in my 20th year, I just really want to make sure that I have everything I need to be set for my coastal grandmother 20s, you know, because I'm planning on not just having this for my 20th year. I want it to go throughout my 20s and maybe even longer, depending on how long I want this to go for. But right now I am loving this aesthetic. I'm loving the style. I'm loving the, like, even house stuff. Obviously I don't have a lot of the house stuff, but I'm excited one day to have that. And so in my vision board, I definitely have some pictures related to that. So I have a picture of a girl sitting in like a window seat, and she's looking out at the trees or something like that. I can't exactly see what she's looking out at, but she's got her hair like in a slick back bun. She's got a cute knit sweater on, some jeans, and I just love that idea, because when my dad and I are here in British Columbia this winter, I'm excited to see like how my coastal grandmother aesthetic is going to change a little bit, like transition it into fall and winter. I haven't experienced fall and winter since 2020, really, like winter for sure. And so I'm excited to kind of see how I can transition into that with my style. And then I also have another picture, which is just a girl like laying in bed, and she's got this cute white ribbed shirt on, and then some like what's it called? Striped PJ shorts, and this cute little mug, and I just really like that. And so that is kind of my, I already know, you already know. I've talked about this so much, but that is another thing for my 20th year is my coastal grandmother aesthetic. Okay, so talking about staying with my dad this winter in BC, I really want, and this is one of my goals, is to be, and I know this is gonna be cringy, but I'm gonna say it anyway, this winter, I want to be in my girl boss era. And hear me out, I know it's cringy, I know it's like, ugh, but I am manifesting this. So what I mean is like meal prepping every week, doing the deep cleans, doing the self-care, having a budget, just being like on my grind, getting things done, and like, I just love the idea of that. And so I included quite a bit of that type of thing in my vision board. So for example, as I said before, I have the picture of the meal prep in the fridge. I have a Sunday meal prep visual, and then a girl on the treadmill, and then also a girl doing like hip thrusts, but that really just symbolizes the gym overall for me. And then I also have the girl at the grocery store, and just all of those things. I also have a picture of a budget, and which I'm planning on doing, and so I'm so excited for that. Right now I'm not going into that era or that time yet, just because I want to enjoy being with my mom and my sisters as much as I can over these next couple of months before we're away for weeks at a time. And so once the winter hits though, like the fall and winter, I'm going to be in my girl boss era. I'm going to be in my, like, I don't know, I'm just going to be getting things done on the grind, and I'm really excited to see how that's all going to play out once I get there. And then the other things are just overall social media growth. For the podcast, for YouTube, for TikTok, for Instagram. And because I'm going to be increasing my content quality and hopefully working with more brands that will compensate me, I'm hoping for a lot of growth on my social medias. I've been putting in so much work over the past couple of years, and of course it's already paying off, and I'm so grateful for the community that I have, and I'm just so excited for it to continue to grow and to reach more people. And so that is a big thing for this year. I really want to make sure that all of my social medias are growing. And so I do have that represented in my vision board. I have the YouTube plaque for 100,000 subscribers, and I don't know if I'm gonna reach that this year because I'm not even at 1,000 yet, but I put it on there, and you never know, things can go big. So that would be amazing though if I hit 100,000 subscribers. But just overall, all of my social medias, I want them to keep growing and to keep impacting as many people as possible. And so that is definitely something that I'll be working on this year. And then the last thing that's represented on my vision board is my travel girly era. I know that's cringy too, but I'm gonna say it anyway. So because I'm gonna be staying in British Columbia with my dad, and then my mom and my sisters are gonna be in Hawaii, again, we are still a happy family. We still love each other. There are no problems or anything. But my dad and I are gonna be flying to Hawaii every 5 or 6 weeks or so to spend some time with my sister and my sisters and my mom in Hawaii. And so another thing that I'm planning on for this year is to be a travel girly, you know, traveling like 5 or 6 times from BC to Hawaii, and really taking that advantage of that time when I'm on the plane to read or to just be productive. And I think that's gonna be really fun. I don't know, I'm really excited for that. I think it'll be fun, doing all this traveling. We'll have to see, you know, I don't know. And with that actually ends my vision board and what I have on there. Of course, I have other goals for my 20th year, but that is what I put on my vision board and like my main goals and things like that. So now we're going to end off this episode with our mini Q&A. And the first question that I got, have you thought about how to adapt the coastal grandmother style to Canadian fall and winter? It looks like a summery style, so I'm curious what the plan is. So thank you for asking about my style, because I love talking about it. So I have been thinking about this too. The coastal grandmother style is very white, light blue, creams, tans, things like that. And so I think for the winter time, the good thing is that actually this style is already very like warm because it's long sleeve, like flowy shirts, long sleeve, flowy pants, like that type of thing. And so I think it'll be actually pretty easy to transition it. I'm thinking that I will maybe incorporate more like browns and navy and maybe some black, but even I'll still wear white. I don't really care. I'll wear white in the winter time. But also adding in more like maybe cute scarves, knit sweaters, getting some cute jackets, boots. I think that that'll be really cute. And so of course I am also new to changing this style to fall and winter, but I think that it's gonna be really fun to see what I can come up with. Question number 2 is, how do you read books so fast? So I've read, I think, 28 books so far this year, and I would say that a big way that I'm able to read books so fast is that I prioritize it. It can be easy just to say like, oh yeah, I'll read before bed, but then it's late and you're tired and you don't want to read, or maybe you say, oh, I'll wake up and read in the morning, but then you sleep in a little bit and then you don't have time to read. So I would say a big thing is to prioritize it. I make sure that every night before I go to bed, I read at least 10 pages because I'm doing the 75 hard challenge. That is how many pages I need to be reading. But whether I was doing the challenge or not, I always make sure to read before bed. And a way to do this is I'll go to bed a little bit earlier than I actually, like before I get tired. So usually I'll be in bed by like 9:30 or 10, and then I'll read for a little bit and go to bed around 10 or 10:30. So I just always make sure to allot that time where I can read, and where I think it can be easy if you say you're gonna read before bed that you're like half asleep if you do it too close to your actual bedtime. So I hope that makes sense, but I just make sure to prioritize adding in time to read. And then the last question actually goes together. It was from the same person, and they said, you said before that you're excited to live alone one day. Where would you like to live? And if you have to choose between Ontario or BC, which one would you pick? And I definitely want to live alone one day. I don't think I'm ready yet, but eventually that is something that I would like to do. As for where I would want to live, I honestly don't know. I do really love it here in BC, but it's so expensive that I think it would be hard to live on my own. So I'm honestly not sure. I think somewhere in Canada, but there are so many places I haven't been to and haven't explored yet that maybe over the next couple of years I'll find a place where I'm like, yes, this is where I want to be. So for that question, for where I want to live, I am not sure yet. But as for the second question of if I had to choose between Ontario or BC, if you're saying for living somewhere, I think I would have to just say BC. I do really love it here. And of course, I don't have to be right in Vancouver. There are other places that may be a little bit less expensive, which would probably be great. But I do love Ontario, and I'm grateful for Ontario because that's where I was born and raised. That's where I made a lot of friends. I learned a lot of things. And just so much happened there that I'm grateful for Ontario, but I don't know if I would want to live there again. And with that ends off our episode. Thank you so much for listening. I hope that you enjoyed it. Please make sure to rate or review if you can on the platform that you're listening to. I so appreciate you being here and for listening today. Have an amazing day, and I hope to see you in my next episode.